It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Well, you can see in that sharp interactive board, I brought Norm McConaughey from MPS Toolbox, the only e-commerce platform in the entire document imaging channel and the IT services channel that helps resellers sell millions of products online if they follow the directions and they do it right. Earlier this week, I did a video and I was talking about some of the e-commerce platforms we're seeing pop up overnight. And ladies and gentlemen, the reason that MPS Toolbox is part of my repertoire, if you will, is because they're the only company that built an e-commerce platform to sell products through an e-commerce platform. It's not built to sell an old encyclopedia. They didn't build it to sell a DCA tool. They didn't build it to sell toner. They built it to sell technology products through an online capability for resellers all over the planet. Norm, how are you doing? Great to have you on. And I know we've been beating the hell out of this subject, but it's driving me out of my mind when I see this stuff happening in our space.
Ray, I love the video you had earlier in the week. It's obviously right up my alley here, and so happy to talk a little more about e-commerce and how we view the world today.
Well, you know, I'm looking at the e-commerce, the website of the organization that's going to deliver the e-commerce platform to our friends, and when you read the comments, they just define how crazy we are around e-commerce. It's good for me and my team. We could get all this research that no end user in the world would ever look at. And I think the thing that's missing, Norm, and I really wanted to emphasize it in today's video, is that, you know, you're the only one out there that's given the resellers, it's over 1,700,000 products. So you're connected to all the disties with all these products, and I want you to be able to talk about that, because if we think e-commerce is about a damn DCA tool, a printer, and a bottle of toner, we're really missing the boat. And I think our channel still sees it that way. So maybe we could show some sites that you built. We can kind of navigate through some of that a little bit and explain to the importance of having all these products through all these distribution houses.
Sure, Ray. Happy to play a little bit of show and tell here today, and I think that's the big thing. You can kind of see the screen here. First and foremost, I think we have to really understand the point that there is no future in a standalone print dealership. Your definition should be, I'm a business-to-business technology reseller.
Amen.
You may be backstopped by print. It may be the most important category today, and it may even be for a few years for your business. But for the customers that you're serving, in order to be relevant to them, you need to serve them up more than just print, and you need to do that easily. And you need to also not just look in the vacuum of what's my competition, how do I look like versus the print dealer down the street. Once you go online, you have to understand, how do I compete? How do I fare against companies like, well, Amazon, CDW, Staples? Those are your competition online. So I was just going to kind of show a little bit of the system as it works today. Obviously, if you're a print dealer, one of the most important things somebody's going to look at is, hey, I want to buy a toner cartridge. I've looked at other e-commerce systems, and my definition of e-commerce is that I should be able to search for something. I should then be able to look at it, see what the specifications are, and add it to a shopping cart. So, see, click, buy, done. That's e-commerce. If I want to check out, I'm going to be able to do that with a credit card. The same thing when I guess it comes to things like printers. If I'm going to buy a printer, we have to understand that people, in particular users of a certain demographic, that's really anybody under 50, many people don't want to talk to anyone. They just want to do their business online and buy things. So in an example like this, we have to give the customer some amount of credit. So they may have a brand preference that they like. They may say, I don't know, do you have any Lexmark products? Obviously, when you see in our system, when it says request a quote, in many cases, that's because there just is no inventory, which is a real issue today. And since the customer's online and they're looking to buy something, you really want to focus them into buying things that are actually available. But the point here is, I can then look and say, well, I'm looking, I want a printer. Well, tell me about what you need. Do you need it to be multifunction, or do you need it to be a single function? Do you need it to be color? Any other functionalities that you want? Do you want it to duplex? Do you want it to fax? Do you want a certain type of paper size, legal letter? I can filter all these things down. I can filter even the monthly page volumes that I think that the device does. Ultimately, I'm going to look and say, maybe there's this particular product I like. If it has a product, I can go ahead and buy it. If it doesn't, I'm not going to be able to buy it. So those are some of the things that exist. Obviously, on the print side, there's a much greater inventory issue that exists today. But what we really need to quickly do is when the customer is, once you capture that customer, and that's one of the things that our industry has done incredibly well. We have tens of thousands of customers. The great shame for me would be, imagine if the only thing you sold to that customer was print. And imagine if the only thing in that space was really A3 print, as opposed to, all the other types of things that they may want, supplies, small printers, desktops, etc. But if you get into technology products just for a second, this is where you then extend your reach into those customer accounts. So in this case, again, they may have a brand preference here. Our system is pulling on a daily basis inventories, products, new products. It's getting rid of discontinued products. It's managing all this for the customers, for the dealers, so that they don't have to think about it. They don't have somebody deciding, what do I want to sell online today? How do I add it? What do I give all those attributes to? So, in this case, they can look and say, is there something specific that I want in terms of screen size? Is there something I want in terms of processors? So the more geeky you are, of course, you can kind of put anything you want in there. But I could decide, hey, maybe in my world, I just want a specific Lenovo printer or laptop. So these are the types of things I can do. I can then look and say, okay, well, maybe that's the product that I want here. I can look at it. It's in stock. Is there anything specific that I want to know? Got pretty detailed specifications on all the information that I may want to know. Do I have enough information to make a buying decision? Yes. Do I want to add it to the shopping cart? Go ahead. Now it's on the shopping cart. I can look and say, well, I've added 3 items to the shopping cart. I've got 2 of this laptop. I've got a toner cartridge. Let me go ahead and check out. Again, I'm going to say, how hard was that? Hopefully, I guess what I would like to say is what I'm showing shouldn't for anybody be seen as, oh my, that's magic. This is your expectation because this is what you're seeing when you're online at Amazon, at CDW, anywhere else.
All the millions of things we buy online. If you go to my website, you want to buy a membership, you do it through an e-commerce platform and you buy it online. You come on back down, Norm, we'll have some more conversation. But it's really amazing to me that we're missing the opportunity to collect revenue from people that are going there to buy stuff. If they have to click through too many things and fill out forms, I call it the prospect parking lot. Why in the hell do we want to build a prospect parking lot when we can actually build a customer, intersection where they become a customer right now? Whether they buy the right or wrong thing, that's not up to us. They chose to buy that. We can now go and talk to them, and maybe there's some more things or services we can sell the customer. I don't understand why our industry doesn't get this. I mean, what are you hearing out there that's holding these people back? Because, I've been to some sites where they could easily be an e-commerce site, and they decided to throw this stupid form in there for people to fill out. Or this misconception that end users care more about tons of information about stuff, like they're going to go online and do all this research before they buy a $200 printer or a $2,000 laptop. They already know what they want. I don't think they're going there to get an education class.
I think that's true. I think the point about research is I believe that people do research online. I don't know where else they go to do research for products, like a library.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Of course you're online doing research, but the distinction I would make is for most of the products you're doing research for, the buying cycle is the same time. So I'm researching and buying at the same time, which I was showing. You can look at the product, find the information you want, and then go ahead and buy that. One of the things that I think is an impediment to success in, let's say, the print channel is the sales reps are intimidated by it. The sales reps are afraid that this is going to take the relationship away from the customer. They see this taking business away from them, as opposed to it being additive. Ray, I was talking to a prospect the other day, and they full stop said, I don't want to sell anything online because I don't sell anything unless I can make X margin, 30%. And when we drilled down and talked about that, I said, well, why does that number come in play? They said, well, because it's such a manual process. When a customer wants to come, I have to get a sales rep involved. We have to check and then phone our purchasing people to see if a product's in inventory. Then we make a quote and then we send it to the customer. And by the time they come back, the product's inevitably gone. So I'm like, okay, well, that's your vision of what the margin needs to be is correct. based on a process that existed maybe 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I look as a company and say, you don't need a sales rep for some of these transactions. So you can manage a lower margin and still be happy because you're turning the business over. And there's none of this manual labor and intervention that's going on. That just doesn't exist in other, well-functioning e-commerce world.
Nor
everybody's trying to figure out how to get less salespeople.
What they're missing is the customers are doing it. Whether they do it on their site or they do it somewhere else, the customers are going and buying stuff. And I think this is the challenge for the industry. They think they're in control of these customers. If I don't build an e-commerce site, then no one's going to go there and buy stuff. I'll be able to call them on in person. How stupid is that? If you don't have a way for them to buy something online, they're just going somewhere else. Or if they go to your site and you make it too clumsy and stupid, they're just going to go to Amazon and buy it in 2 seconds. I mean, I don't get it. I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's it. It's the worst of all worlds because I've seen, there's a conversation because you have the ability in our system to say, well, request a quote, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sell that because that's like a leased finance product. And we have these conversations often, but many of the products that I would find, like technology products, they can have 10. Look at Sharp interactive boards; they can be $10,000 or $20,000, and they say, well, I want a quote on that. They say, but here's the problem. If somebody goes to your website and there's no price, I can immediately take the product,
Mm-hmm.
put it in a URL, and search and find 10 different places to buy it immediately. The only place that I can't buy it is you. So you did all the work, told the customer what to buy, then you actually force the customer because there's a thought that, if they don't see the price, they're going to pick up the phone and call me or fill out a form.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that's a dangerous assumption. People don't do that anymore,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's crazy stuff. It's really nuts. I was really excited, to be honest with you, Norm, when I started seeing some other e-commerce players coming into the space, because there's nothing better than to drive some competition, get people excited. But the bottom line is, and if you ever start doing this, I'm going to scream at you. But we can't be building e-commerce sites based on what a dealer with a 1999 business model wants you to do. And too much of our industry has been the good intentions are hijacked by basically outdatedness or stubbornness. And people go in and they try to really help people move into a new direction or an innovative direction. And then we get this stubbornness that gets in the way, and they reevaluate and then they reinvent how they're going to come to market based on a 1999 model. And it's just insanity. We're seeing it with IT services. Now we got, who knows, Johnny and the brother starting an e-commerce site so they can sell encyclopedias or DCA tools. And I hope you'll never change your attitude. I know some people get aggravated with you because you're stubborn to the fact that you want them to do what's based on the customer, not what's based on, these outdated processes. So, give me a quick update. Are you getting some better feedback? Has people reached out to you since these other players are out there stirring up the market noise?
Yeah, I've always wanted that to be the case. I wanted other viable products to be out there in e-commerce, and I continue. It's difficult because in some ways the other products are selling, what the dealership wants, mm-hmm. which is a system that reinforces that their model makes sense. But my experience in seeing what happens out in the marketplace is they won't be successful, but what you'll do is waste time. Mm-hmm. Ask yourself the questions. What do my current customers need beyond print? Can I sell that? Do I ever expect to go beyond print? I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
People want to buy things. They want to transact with you. You're local. There's so much good going for these companies. So I like that there are other products out there. I just think you simply need to ask the question as a dealership, what am I going to be selling 3 or 4 years from now, or next month, or a month from now? How many salespeople do I need? Mm-hmm. I think there's been a massive turnover in sales. If I can't find the product online in my system, there's a good chance that nobody else has access to it either. Mm-hmm. So sales reps that aren't selling things, they go away. They go find another industry where they can sell products. But that is actually maybe not bad news in our industry, because it's forcing us to say, well, if I can't make my old process no longer allows a sales rep to make $100,000 a year, but I still have customers and they still need products. Is there a more automated way that that I can touch those customers? Because as an owner, right, if there's a certain amount of margin that you can make with a product, mm-hmm. if you're going to give that much to the sales rep, you're in trouble. It doesn't work online. But if you can still make good margin, you can still sell many, many more products online than you ever thought you had access to as a print dealership. You just have to make some strategic decisions about how you view the market. So again, it's an ownership decision.
Absolutely.
If I'm speaking to somebody in an organization and it's not the owner, it's the sales rep, to me, kiss of death.
It's a waste
Sales
of time.
reps will not see the value of this.
It's like going to, replace an IT services or inject your IT services deliverable into a customer and talk to the head of IT. It's not going to work.
Exactly that.
Well, Norm, I said this before. If the dealers would have embraced this stuff 3 or 4 years ago, they could have spent the last 3 or 4 years developing it, reinvented it for our industry where it really made sense. And we're coming in at the end of the. I mean, it needs to be done today. At the end of the day, and we're trying to. So now we're looking for whoever makes us feel good. Let's engage with these people because they're going to tell us everything we want to hear and make us feel good. We'll sell absolutely nothing online, and we can have people filling out forms. Norm, it's always great having you on. I didn't want to overwhelm the audience today, but at the end of the day, get an e-commerce site. Like I said, I was so excited. We had some competitors coming into place, but I'm not too concerned about the competitors from your perspective because we can't build e-commerce sites to sell encyclopedias. Anything you want to add before we end?
No, just that you saw like a rocket round demonstration of the system. Happy for any of your folks that watch the video. If they just want to ping me on LinkedIn, happy to give them a more in-depth, demonstration of what we can do. Thanks again, Ryan.
Maybe we can set up a webinar like we did last year. Do that again. Because, ladies and gentlemen, everybody knows this. Status quo is the killer of all. It'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo. We'll see you all tomorrow.